I've noticed that the farmers market takes SNAP EBT. Do you guys also
Yeah.
do that? Do you think that's like one way to make things more accessible, or
Yeah.
you're like, it just is what it is?
No, I think it makes things a lot more accessible instead of like regulating like what is accessible with SNAP and EBT. I think like everybody should accept it.
Yeah.
Period. Because
Does
like
not everyone accept it here?
yeah, no, not everybody at all the markets accept EBT.
Okay.
And I think it's also because some are like specialty things, so they're like, oh, this doesn't fall under that, but for us, we'll take whatever. Like,
Yeah.
because we want everybody to enjoy the food.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to like add or say? Or
Yeah, I think there needs to be more effort on behalf of the people in power and the developers and everything to have Durham, the business scene, reflect what the actual community of Durham looks like, because we don't have enough Black and brown owned businesses in the area. A lot of these places, like there's a lot of restaurants that are owned by the same people that are open up. I'm like, okay, so how about we just give some of the people who have been here who haven't had opportunities, let's give them the opportunity to grow and have a bigger audience for them to share their craft with. And I just don't see enough of that happening. I see them trying to do that with like American Tobacco. I feel like they've been making a lot of changes, but overall I don't think it's enough. Because Durham, growing up, it looks totally different now than it did when I was growing up. Like I remember Durham being like predominantly Black. Like we were over like 60-some% Black when I was growing up, and now everywhere I go, I'm like, where's everyone gone? So it's because we're moving in a direction where we're gonna be like Oakland pretty soon, where a lot of that history is being erased and people are being pushed out, and it's accessible for the folks who have been here for generations. So yeah, just hoping that will change, and I'm glad that the election went the way it did, because it gives me hope that we got folks in there willing to fight for the folks who are the most marginalized in Durham. Instead of just talking a game, they actually put action behind their words.
You know, there's sometimes a language barrier, I feel like, and then there's not many people of color who are market sellers either, and so that's one of those accessibility in terms of feeling comfortable there, I think, is an interesting thing to consider.
I wish we had a way that that we could have a bus stop close by to make it more accessible, but most of the time on Saturdays, this street out here is blocked, so that doesn't, for the market, so that doesn't work well for that kind of accessibility. One thing I was going to say is that we're working with RAFI right now to try to, are you familiar with RAFI? Yeah. Rural Advancement Fund International. To try to get, they have a minority farmers program, and we're trying to work with them to help identify more minority vendors. And they're also, what's been proposed is that they will help defer some of the cost for those vendors to get set up for tables and coolers and whatever their stuff is, and help them with their first year's fees as a way to introduce and get more diverse farmers into the market.